Yo, what up? I want to share with you today a little tweak that I discovered this morning and last night that helped me squeeze just a little bit more productive, focused work out of my coffee shop sessions and kind of limit the distractions a little bit more. I generally spend quite a bit of time in coffee shops working, and over the course of the past, I don't know, 6 months. Um, I've been kind of on a journey to create more valuable content and share, and a lot of that output comes from time that I spend in coffee shops, and so that time is really valuable to me. And there are some times when things go really well, and I pick the right activities to do during the coffee shop session. But there are other times where I seem to kind of go off the rails and go in with the intent of making something valuable and productive and come out with, doing things that are a small benefit, but not necessarily those big, like, move the needle things. And I've been reading this book called Deep Work by Cal Newport, and I'm on the last chapter, and he's talking about shallow work. And something that I realized last night was that I'll give you a little bit more context. For my productivity system, whatever you want to call it, Obsidian journaling system, I have a single note that I just basically dump all of my ideas that I have during the day into it. And then when I get more time, typically during coffee shops, I will go back through those and create individual unique notes based on that idea, or flesh it out, or anything um, that I need to do for that idea that I've kind of captured in that one place, rather than doing it in the moment. And I've come to realize that that is more shallow work than it is deep work. Now, I think there are some times where I need to expand on something. Like I have a prompt or something that I want to think about and kind of process, or like a decision that I'm going through, and I capture that. And then during my coffee shop session, I will like go through that process. For example, the other day I did financial planning for this year. Like, that's something that I can't just do in 30 seconds. It's more like, oh yeah, let me do some financial planning. And then, like, in the session, I will go through that. So there is some deep work, but a lot of the times it's just shallow work of capturing these ideas and thoughts that I have, or feelings, or kind of connections that I have. And I have gotten caught all too often getting caught up in spending my deep work session just going through my list of captured ideas and creating notes for them. And in the moment, I feel like so productive because I'm like, wow, look at all these things that I've like captured and like fleshed out. But as I've started to read this book, Deep Work, uh, I'm realizing more that that's not really deep work. I'm not really moving the needle on the things that I need to move the needle on towards my goals. And so I thought, and I'm going to break this down into two things from this insight. One is specific to this, my system is trying to do the shallow work of transferring these notes outside or before my deep work sessions. And so this is what I did last night, was knowing that I was going to work today, I went back through my captured ideas, and I made basically all of them into their unique notes. And so I had pretty much a blank slate going into the work session this morning, without the temptations of like, oh, all these like little threads that are like, oh, I had this thought, and I can relate it and flesh it out here. And like, that's just shallow work. And so removing the temptation of those shallow work activities during my deep work session helped me focus in on doing the work that mattered. And the second part of this realization as I read this book was I kept hearing, I don't know, from many different sources over the, it's not a new idea. It's not a revolutionary idea here. Um, and I've done it before, but I'm not sure why I stopped. And that is when I sat down, I made a plan for what I wanted to accomplish in that session. I said, okay, here's my high level goals. Here are the actions that will move me towards those goals. Now, what today, in the next, it was 3 hours this morning, what can I do that will move the needle towards those goals? And so I just wrote down 3 things, and those things were the things that would move the needle. Those are the big, like, the things that require deep work were those things. So, coming out of that, well, let me say before I talk about what happened after, I I found that helped me focus in uh on what mattered during that session, and having the captured ideas already a blank slate helped me remove the temptations for doing the shallow things that like are easy to complete but not move the needle. And so coming out of it, I did, not a surprise, not complete everything that I wanted to complete. But that being said, I feel satisfied with what I accomplished because the things that I worked on were the things that are the actions that move me towards my goals. And so I can be more satisfied now having done those things rather than, just capturing some ideas and fleshing them out and stuff like that. So I I feel more accomplished with the session, and I feel better about spending my time and energy on the things that actually mattered during that valuable, scarce time rather than on the things that could be done pretty much at any point in the day and don't require much thought. So, if this sounds applicable to you, I will leave you with 2 things. That is, one is, how can you reduce the temptations for doing shallow work during your day? If there's open loops that you have, how can you reduce those temptations when you're in your focused deep work time? And the second is, and my hope is that for me, going through this process of speaking about it, I actually do this more often. But 2 is, experiment with creating a plan and thinking about what your high level goals are, what the actions are that will help you reach those, and then pick 3 things that will move the needle, and just focus on those and don't worry about anything else. I hope that was helpful for you, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye.